How would you feel if after wolfing down what you thought was a delicious chicken tikka masala, you'd actually consumed a tikka masala alright, except it contained German Shepherd rather than one of our feathery friends? Or what if you found out that the bits of meat in your noodles wasn't actually prime pork, but strips of sewer rat? Or worse, you discovered that the tasty beef fillet you just enjoyed was a few days before your meal a living, breathing human being. Is that far-fetched? Well, the Smithsonian tells us that human meat looks like beef, but taste-wise it's closer to pork. Here's what one journalist said after trying human meat in West Africa in the early 20th century. It was like good, fully developed veal, not young, but not yet beef. So, had any tasty veal recently? Welcome to this episode of The Infographic Show, most horrific things ever served by restaurants. The Unstoppable Pest. Okay, so we're gonna start light and finish with meals that will make you want to vomit. When we say light, we mean one horrific thing served that happens time and time again and will keep happening just because some restaurants can't keep out invaders. You guessed it, we're talking about people being served cockroaches. There's no shortage of news stories telling us that customers have been less than impressed with something they ordered because it came with a cockroach. You'd think this happens to shabby restaurants with perhaps lax cleaning policies, but that isn't always the case. In 2018, it was reported that a restaurant in Oxford, England, which had been praised by food critics, had been investigated by the local council's environmental health unit. They found an unclean kitchen, but also food ready to be served that contained bits of roach. In 2009, one well-known critic had said this place served the best Chinese meal I have eaten in years and years, better than anything I've ever found in London. The restaurant was closed after Roachgate. How did that get there? Sometimes things end up in food and we just don't know how they got there. This happened in Japan in 2018 when a customer was shocked to find his sausage egg McMuffin contained bits of human teeth. Following the incident, McDonald's released a statement saying this is an isolated matter and the local team will continue to liaise directly with the customer as the investigation is carried out. A similar thing happened in Japan in 2015 when someone found a human tooth in their McDonald's fries in Japan. The thing was, none of the staff had lost a tooth and it remained a mystery as to where the rogue molar came from. This is just another issue of quality control and cleanliness. But you can be sure that sometimes restaurants secretly add disgusting things to your food. We'll talk about that too. Randy Burger. Do burgers make out? We doubt it, but there have been cases when humans found unwrapped condoms in their sandwich. One such case happened in 2007 when an American man found a prophylactic in his burger at a Burger King in Rutland, Vermont. He told the press that after he bit into his Southwestern Whopper and found the condom, he sustained pain and suffering, vomiting, nightmares, mental and emotional distress. Of course he did. And that's why Burger King settled with him out of court. It gets worse. If you're going to discover an errant condom in any sort of food, then you'd think that clam chowder would be the most suitable dish. This happened to a woman in 2002 when she was dining in the seafood restaurant McCormick & Schmick's. She said she was enjoying her thick, creamy soup when she bit into something very rubbery. She thought it was a bit of tough calamari, but it turned out to be a condom. I ran into the bathroom with another friend of mine and I started throwing up, she told the press. In 2004, CNN reported that she had settled out of court. I'll take some lettuce, tomatoes, onions, jalapenos, and a big fat dead mouse. What a surprise a Subway customer had in 2015 in the USA when he found his baguette contained not just what he asked for, but also a large dead mouse. Subway apologized for the incident, saying it was unfortunate. The guy who bought the sandwich said he was lucky in that he didn't actually bite into the mouse. He told KGW it was wet and dead. His tail was curled up and you could see his two front teeth. He said he found it funny as well as gross. He didn't sue the company, but he did get a refund. Finger licking good. Our last fast food nightmare, there are too many to choose from, involved the restaurant Arby's in 2011. It was reported that a 14-year-old boy got more than he bargained for when he found a bit of human finger inside his sandwich. We are deeply concerned and apologetic to the guest involved in this unfortunate incident, said Arby's later. This time an investigation proved to be fruitful, as it turned out that the staff member had been using the slicer and had lost a bit of her digit. She survived but had to get some medical attention, and the young boy took the finger find in stride. Rat in a can. No one likes saucy baked beans as much as the British do. Beans on toast has been a staple of mainly the working-class Brits for many years. with the meal sometimes getting additions such as cheese. But we can say for sure that most Brits wouldn't be up for a dead rat with their beloved beans. That almost happened when a dead rat was found in a can of beans. The photo is gross to say the least. The rat had come to an untimely end, but was not possible to say if it had died before or after it got into the beans, investigators said. We will now move on from things found in food, but just to let you know that some things found in food have been syringes, bullets, animal heads, hearts, gloves, and tampons. Man's best friend. We all know that in some countries you might find dog at the menu at specialist restaurants or perhaps when you venture into the countryside of developing nations. But you might also have read reports over the years that some restaurants serving up dog and pretending it was something else. In 2015, the British press told us that 6 restaurants in the Mexican city of Tijuana had been closed for apparently serving up dog and saying it was pork. When investigators arrived at one place, they found a headless puppy in a trash can, as well as caged dogs in some of the kitchens. The Daily Mail reported that at one place, police found the owner himself in the process of decapitating and butchering a canine carcass, putting the meat in a cooking pot. Caught red-handed, literally. Mystery meat. In 2013, the British press said investigators were stumped after looking into a dish at one restaurant that was supposed to have been lamb curry. Investigators had decided to buy a bunch of meals from restaurants and takeaways in London, following Britain's great horse meat scandal. At one place, they found that they couldn't identify the meat using a DNA test. They said it was definitely not lamb, but also not pork, chicken, or beef, or horse, or even goat. It's absolutely terrifying because if it isn't any of the meats we know, what is it? Said one of the investigators. This was all part of a documentary on British TV. That film also told us that investigators found meats containing no actual meat, but innards and the blood of animals. Things we don't often eat or don't think we're eating. Rat kebabs. There are many rumors that some Chinese restaurateurs will pass off dog or cat meat in Western countries as regular meat. These stories are 99% fiction, but in China it's a different matter. While some people might actually want to eat dog, Hong Kong's South China Morning Post said in 2013 that there was proof that street hawkers have at least been serving up rats as lamb kebabs, but also possibly dog and cat meat. Investigators found that it's very likely rat meat that had been used, as people had been hospitalized in mainland China and doctors had found that they had fallen ill because they had consumed rat poison. SCMP also wrote, the inquiries showed that rat, fox, and mink meat had been sold as lamb in Shanghai. It said many Chinese people were outraged when news hit that their beloved kebabs were not what they thought. China's Ministry of Public Security also made a number of arrests after the investigation. How to tell if you're ever served up rat? Foreign policy tells us it's easy, as it smells like rat and tastes like rat. Apparently, you should just know when rat's in front of you. The problem is, in China and other parts of Asia, eating meat on skewers at night is often accompanied by a skinful of alcohol. Vegetarian cannibals? This bit of news is easily the pièce de résistance today, although there are a few takes on the story. Many well-established news outlets wrote in 2018 that customers at a Bangkok vegetarian restaurant had been outraged when they found out that their dish had included some small pieces of human. They had unwittingly become cannibals. The British tabloids wrote that people were horrified when they found out that a murdered customer had ended up in their ethical meal. Police had been called, and at the restaurant they found spatters of blood in the kitchen, as well as a deceased 61-year-old man who had been stuffed into a septic tank. The Daily Mail wrote, police alleged the owner's intention was to get rid of Praset's corpse by grinding it up and serving parts of it to customers. You might find many more instances of media reports saying humans were served as meat, but you can also find counter-reports proving most if not all of these stories are just lies or bad reporting. With that in mind, the Bangkok restaurant story, even though widely reported, may not have been as bad as we first heard. Yet a man was murdered and hidden in the restaurant after making someone lose face. That's hardly big news in Thailand. But was he served up and eaten? It seems it never went that far according to some reports. But would he have been if the cops hadn't arrived on the scene? We'll never know. Let's finish this show on a lighter note, and let's talk for just a few seconds about how we make these videos, since it's a very common question. Besides using Adobe After Effects to animate the videos, we help speed up the process by sometimes using pre-made assets, or even templates from Envato Elements. I'm sure you already know websites like Audio Jungle, Video Hive, and Graphic River. Well, Envato owns all of them, and what they did now is pretty awesome. They've compiled almost 1 million assets from all of their sites and are making them available for a small monthly fee. They keep adding more every month. And if you sign up using our link in the description, you'll not only get an unlimited amount of downloads, you'll also support us in the process. Quick note, some vectors and music used in today's video were from Envato Elements. Check them out. What's the worst thing you've eaten, found in food, or have heard people have eaten? How would you feel about being served a bit of rat, dog, or cat on a skewer? Or on a deeper note, why is it okay to eat some animals and not others, in the realm of conventional ethics at least? Tell us in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video, The Loneliest Country in the World. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.